April 21st, 2026, Lowell City Council meeting come to order. Lord's Prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Council Liang?
Here.
Council McDonough?
Here.
Council Mercia?
Here.
Council Noon?
Here.
Council Robinson?
Here.
Council Rourke?
Here.
Council Scott?
Here.
Council Chow?
Yes.
Council Dakota?
Here.
Mayor Gitschier?
Here.
Council Duran? Here. 11 present.
Thank you. 2, Mayor's business. I want to just congratulate the Mayor's Assistant, Erastus Mwangi, on completing the Boston Marathon yesterday in 4 hours and 58 minutes. I want to say congratulations. He beat Councilor Rourke and the manager's time. Councilor Rourke said Bailey, but obviously Erastus couldn't be here today. 2.1, communication, remote Zoom participation, motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor McDonough. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So voted. 2.2, citation, Lowell Spinners. If John Croto and Mark Deschaines would come up to the mic to accept the citation. Good afternoon, Mark and John.
Good afternoon.
Would you like to say a few words before we give you the official citation for bringing your business to Lowell?
Yes, be great. So first of all, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here. We are overwhelmed with the support that the city's provided us since announcing the franchise coming back to Lowell in Ouellette Park. So again, can't thank you guys enough, and we're excited to put a fun, fan, community experience in front of everybody.
Great. Yeah, likewise, I'd like to thank everybody for the welcome to bring baseball back to, summer baseball back to Lowell. I personally am very energized by the community aspect of it. I view this as kind of the different flavor. You have professional baseball, then you have community baseball. And I kind of view, and I think Mark has the same feeling, Ouellette Park and the Spinners are really kind of a shared civic space where we can really host all aspects of our community, and I think you'll love what you see. Thank you.
We have an official citation, be it here known to all that the Lowell City Council and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts hereby offers its sincere congratulations to the Lowell Spinners. The City of Lowell City Council extends its sincere congratulations to the Lowell Spinners on their return to the City of Lowell under new ownership. After several years away from the field, the revival of the Lowell Spinners marks an exciting new chapter in Lowell's rich baseball tradition. Originally established as a minor league affiliate, the team created lasting memories for generations of residents before ceasing operation in 2020. Their return in 2026 as a member of the Futures Collegiate Baseball League represents a renewed commitment to community, opportunity, and enduring spirit of the game. Under new ownership, the organization brings fresh energy and a vision while honoring the legacy that made the Spinners a beloved institution in our city. The team's presence at Edward A. LaLasha Park once again provides a gathering place for families, fans, and visitors to celebrate America's pastime and strengthen community pride. The Lowell City Council recognizes the Spinners organization, ownership group, and all those who made this return possible for their dedication in revitalizing baseball in Lowell and contributing to the cultural and economic vibrancy of our city. Therefore, now I, Mayor Eric R. Gitschier, on behalf of the entire City Council and residents of Lowell, do hereby congratulate the Lowell Spinners on their return to Lowell. We wish the Spinners continued success on and off the field and look forward to many memorable seasons. Thank you guys for investing in all of us. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Duran, seconded by Councilor Dakota. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Would anyone like to say a few words? All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Robinson.
can I please make a motion to take both informationals out of order, 5.2?
Motion by Councilor Robinson to take 5.2, both information reports, out of order, seconded by Councilor Rourke. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 5.2, information reports. Pollard Memorial Library. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through the council. Councils, we take this opportunity to have Ms. Cooley come up from the Pollard Memorial Library to talk about some of the great things that are happening over there. So if we could just ask Ms. Cooley to come up and explain what's been happening. So thank you very much, Bridget.
So most of you got a PowerPoint presentation, which I don't have, so I'm going to do it off of my notes. But thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Mayor, and councilors for allowing me to share highlights about the library. It's National Library Week, so we are celebrating libraries all week long with special activities. But as I was kind of putting this together for you, it's hard to believe to me that I just recently finished my second year as director at the library, so it went very, very quickly. I have notes, I'm good. I have lived on that presentation for you. Obviously, as one of the big things that's going on, we have really been focused on making sure that we have been expanding the library services, both within the building and also beyond our walls, and making sure that anyone who comes in the library feels that the space is welcoming to them. Our ultimate goal every day is to be Lowell's library, making sure that the materials we have, the services and programs we provide, and the opportunities that we offer are what residents need, while also supporting organizations, nonprofits, and businesses that make up our community. It's imperative that we have something that makes every resident in Lowell feel like they are part of the library, and it's an action we're committed to making happen each and every day. Our goal, vision, and missions are all focused on providing residents the opportunity to learn and grow while also using the library as a resource hub and a way to build community among residents and visitors. a lot of people at times will argue that libraries are no longer important in an age of rapidly developing technology, but I argue that they're even more important now in providing access for all, a place for people to connect and find support, offering vibrant, relevant, and exciting books and materials, and also be able to exist in a third space. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a social environment away from home and work where people can gather to connect, relax, and engage in community and personal activities. In a post-COVID world, we have seen the need to connect grow exponentially year over year. As you can see through our participation in programs, people meeting at the library for things like group work, projects, or just a play date. Connection is very necessary to avoid loneliness and isolation. One of my regular patrons, who pretty much comes in every day at a minimum, but most of the time it's every other day, is one of my older patrons. He shared, and I quote, "My wife recently passed and the staff at the library have been like a second family to me. They have been very caring and supportive, and without them I'd have been lost. Overall, the library has been more than an information center for me. The service, staff, and resources it's provided have made me feel that I have a friendly location in Lowell." And libraries aren't just important to those who use them, but we also provide support for economic development in the city through offering workshops with other city departments like DPD and sustainability. We support those who are looking for jobs, do resume writing with residents, help people apply for jobs. One of the biggest changes in COVID was everything went online, and there was a huge gap of people who were familiar with paper applications suddenly no longer being available. We provide access to that technology for residents, helping them to rent apartments or submit timesheets. And there are a number of businesses in this community that will only accept timesheets by fax. And we have the trained staff who are able to help meet those needs. In 2025, our staff provided over 12,500 computer sessions for residents and assisted with people printing over 28,000 pages. Library staff answered more than 37,000 questions, of which a third of them are related just to technology. The other reason that I know libraries are important is because our community has told us. Library users are borrowing at higher rates every year, and we're making sure we offer them what they want in the best way possible. Right now, ironically, Lowell residents prefer physical materials more than electronic. However, our electronic borrowing is growing each year. In comparison, our first quarter 2026 circulation has led to patrons borrowing over 3,600 more items this year than first quarter 2025. And I really do want to say special thanks to this council. Many of you have been advocates for the bookmobile, but as you can see from what I've provided in the report, our bookmobile has been growing as we've refined our stops, built stronger partner locations, and found schedules that work for each neighborhood. Obviously, requests for the bookmobile and our participation in community outreach events has been growing every year. Our programming trends have also been growing significantly. There have been greater demands for story times, book clubs, programming, and so many of my staff have been fantastic in offering opportunities for our families to come together and interact. The programming for teens has been led by an amazing YA librarian, Claire, who has built relationships with teens through her teen advisory board, but also doing extensive outreach at Lowell High, with the help of Lowell High School media specialist Kristen Monahan. And we've been able to build a really strong network between the public and local and high school libraries to create a system that really benefits the students. And the teens have been very vocal about saying what they want and then showing up with their feet. Our adult program has also increased significantly because we are soliciting requests from our attendees about what they want to see next and what they wish we would offer. Obviously, one of the biggest requests that we've been able to meet is to offer technology skills training in both group and one-on-one settings. We are focused on building comfort and understanding with technology, accessing electronic resources. Actually, I had somebody request a cell phone one-on-one while I was waiting in council chambers for this to start. And also stressing both computer safety and protecting people online. We are grateful, and we have been doing this for a long time, but that we offer this program at both the library and the senior center. And we balance this with programs like author talks, arts and crafts, genealogy, environmental programs, and so much more. And a special thanks to all the staff and community members who've offered opportunities to all of our family and participants. One of my regular patrons shared, "I've attended countless craft nights and other clubs and have witnessed them turn from small groups to every event reaching wait lists. The Pollard has provided me with skills, community, and access to knowledge. This library is continuing to grow its audience every year and has kept up with new interests and needs of the community. This month, we've been able to offer activities for homeschool families, activities to celebrate the bicentennial, including storytelling workshops with Lala, and our most recent mosaic unveiling. If you haven't seen it yet, it's in the Merrimack entrance of the library, as well as special arts and craft activities for all ages. Thankfully, what we do is not without profound community support. In the past year, we've been able to host community programs and meetings, attend various events that highlight literacy and learning, and even this week we're partnering with the Friends of the Library, National Park Service, Lowell Public Schools, and Mill City Grows, who's giving a discount at the markets if you show your library card. This list is growing each day, and as we recognize the amazing groups, nonprofits, businesses, and city departments who support the community building that we are striving to achieve. The list is over 130 different entities. Some of that I cheated and just said UMass Lowell groups. So it's even more than that, but it's really fantastic how much the community uses the library, and we are able to partner with them on anything that we're trying to accomplish. We do not make any decisions in a vacuum at the library. We have a tremendous board of trustees that ensure we stay on point with our strategic plan, make sure that the library budget and state expectations are being met, and that we're doing everything we can to fulfill the needs of Lowell residents. I would like to shout out that I have members of the Friends, the Foundation, and the trustees in this council chamber with me. They are fantastic at representing the city and the library at events like legislative days. They advocate for the library as well as make sure that all the policies, procedures, and visions I have for the library reflect the current standards and expectations of residents. And many of those trustees, including Chair Donna Richards, make sure I stay on point. 2 years ago, when the administration changed and I came on as director, the trustees, the Friends, and the Foundation, as well as the staff, reviewed all former strategic plans and reflected upon the city's goals for Lowell Forward. Together, we envisioned a library that we wanted to provide for the city and the actions needed to ensure all residents had the opportunity to benefit from our service. I'm going to give you a very, very brief overview of our strategic plan and what we've accomplished. Our first tenet is communicate and connect. The objective is to expand the ways the library communicates and connects with those outside our walls. Yes, we have a beautiful building, but due to a number of factors, not everyone can make it downtown. In the past year, we've committed to expanding our reach to meet residents where they are through outreach activities like story times and visits, bookmobile stops, going to community nonprofits to do presentations, attending community outreach events, and attending literacy nights, as well as combining with other city departments to offer new opportunities for residents. Our biggest asset to creating this connection is the library staff. They work diligently to provide so many services to the community and make sure we connect with the public. It's important that we don't duplicate services, and I'm very cognizant of that, but instead supplement what's already happening in the community. We like to provide support for nonprofits, highlight businesses, and support city entities who are already doing amazing work. And we've received tremendous support from everyone we've approached about partnering, sharing ideas, and supporting each other's activities. The second thing is strengthen core services. In this objective, we've been focusing on asking and listening to patrons about the needs and services that they'd like, while also evaluating the usage of our services and resources. Literacy for all ages has been especially important for residents in the last few years. We've increased the materials for language learning by adding grammar materials and decodables for things like pattern recognition and phonics. We've incorporated talking books to allow for the combination of reading and listening at the same time, which also benefits those with sight issues, as well as undertaking a pilot program for home delivery. We've also added over 400 books in languages other than English, and an additional 250 books for learning English to non-English speakers and students. We are hopeful to expand these services, including home delivery, to those who need it in the coming months. We are regularly evaluating program services and space usage to make sure we can offer the materials and services that are most needed. One of our projects, which is in process, is to create additional meeting room space within the library's existing footprint to be able to expand meeting and study room demands for the community. In the coming months, we'll be making lendable technology like tablets and laptops available for residents to use initially within the library and then for use at home. Also, we just completed updating our children and teen areas for furniture, as well as the adult furniture is currently ordered and some of it has already arrived and being built. Lastly is organizational excellence. We are continuing to use patron feedback, suggestions, and questions to evaluate what we offer. Recently, due to patron requests, we've added color printing, self-scanning stations, and even Google and Apple Pay because patrons requested it. It is important to us to provide the best customer service we can, while also ensuring that we have the information we need from other city departments and nonprofits to be able to provide details about services and provide referrals to residents. It's important that the library acts as a conduit of information. Our staff are continuing to focus on expanding our talents and skills, making sure that we keep learning so we can help our community. We've been actively participating in training opportunities on a state, local, and national level, focusing on soliciting ideas from patrons, acting on suggestions, ideas, and requests put forth by the public. In the past year, we've purchased over 50 items for community members that we've been able to fulfill, as well as numerous ideas to enhance library services and programs. And we are also focused on using all the metrics available to us to make informed decisions about what's most important to the library patrons. I'd like to thank you all for what you do to support us regularly, but I do have a few simple asks for council. 1, please continue to help us meet our goals and missions and our mission while expanding our reach. Help connect us to those in the community that we should know, and also open doors to help us be successful. I'd like to shout out Councilor Scott, who answered an email that I requested a contact name and a phone number, which ended up her getting back to me almost the same day. That's resulted in a new bookmobile stop in Back Central, and it was fantastic. It was like they were so gung-ho right away. We were having trouble connecting, and she opened that door for us. As a UNESCO City, a learning site, we can't be content with where we are. We have to continue to evolve and adapt to meet the needs as the community grows, changes, and becomes a better place to live. Building community is not just an idea, it's an action that everyone needs to support, and I've seen this by small, quiet actions. The library has a little free pantry. It's just one small box, but there have been more than 30 residents, the Lowell High Honor Society, nonprofit groups, and library staff who help make sure that hundreds of food items have made their way to residents in need every day. This action and many others are needed for Lowell to build a stronger community, and we want to ensure that the library and city offers opportunities for all residents to learn and grow. Lastly, this should be a fairly easy ask. Continue to advocate for libraries and what they provide. The best way to do that is use your library card and our services. When one uses the library, you can demonstrate and articulate their value. You can see the possibilities for what they become. And because I'm a librarian and I like to have details and receipts, I have more information for you to read at a later date. So you can see the possibilities for what we can become. We have things like everything that we've achieved in 2025, the return on investment for investing in the library, as well as feedback from some of our library patrons who experience the benefits each week. This National Library Week, our theme is Find Your Joy. And each day I am able to interact with people who find joy in the library and its services and who appreciate all the opportunities that, as one of my younger patrons says, our Castle Library provides them. So I thank you for your time and welcome any questions.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the speaker. It's pretty clear the library is a hub in challenging times, but I used to represent a lot of staff in the library years ago when I was involved as an employee and union president here. And one thing I have to say is, wow, what a way we've come with you and your staff and the services provided to our community, and I thank you very much for that. For the listeners at home, some of the recent trends that jump out to me, especially with the bookmobile service growth, in 2023, 4 stops, 20 cards made, 130 people served with 8 checkouts. 2024, 174 stops, 322 cards made, 12,265 people served, and 658 checkouts. And in 2025, 365 stops, 830 cards made, 17,437 people served, with 1,883 checkouts. I think that trend speaks for itself, that one of the wisest investments our public and our city could have made is this bookmobile, and it's just a supplement in addition to what the brick and mortar's doing. One thing I'd like to bring to attention, and it's been kind of a different ask. I've had some residents reach out. I don't know what's going on, but 5 or 6 different people in the past 2 months have kind of asked if I knew anywhere that offered kind of a seminar or webinar or whatever, a combination of both, for potential wannabe authors. I don't know if maybe an author workshop that might explore the how-tos, how to write, how to publish, and everything in between is something that you would have capacity to try to look at in the near future, but I think there is a growing appetite for that. I also think something that was mentioned where you are servicing so many people, and it is an information portal and hub in the community. I think we need to look as a council and an administration and see, can we also lean on our partners at the library to become an information hub when it comes to voting? It's a great outlet to let people know dates and options and all that information, because again, spreading that information out to the public through every channel that we have at our disposal, I think is definitely needed. So I commend you and your team, and thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am so honored to know this woman, because when you have a department and you have the person that should be in charge, she fits the bill so much. I am so honored to have gone to different events at the library. She's right out front. She's right there. She's knowledgeable. I'm so proud of all your dedication to the library. You're the right person for the right position. But I want to say that I'm even more impressed that the dress that you're wearing this evening has books on it, library books. This is amazing. She dresses the part, too. I am so impressed.
I have a couple.
So congratulations, and thank you for being the great leader that you are with knowledge for the library. Thank you.
Councilor Mercia, thank God you're sitting that close because I can't see him from here.
It's got books on it.
Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and also I want to thank you for coming to make the presentation. And I want to thank and welcome all the Board of Trustees, the friends of the library, for being here in the audience as well. As you know, the speaker mentioned this is National Library Week, and I had a chance to go visit the mosaic, the community art, this Saturday, and it was just beautiful. It just, everything that piece of art there, just everything what Lowell stands for. And I'm happy to see Councillor Belinda Durant there. And just a note to the public, if with Councillor Durant's busy council schedule, if you cannot find her, you can find her at the library any day of the week. But every time I go to the library, I'm always amazed to see new things. I'm dating myself a little bit. I've been using the library since the 1980s. As you know, I grew up in the Acre, and no space in in our small apartment in the Acre. So the only place where we can do homework, do research, read books, and so forth, was the library at that time. And I still, when I go to the library, I still look for the Dewey Decimal cards, I still look for the drawers. I know that doesn't exist anymore, and that just shows how much the library has changed, how much the library has transformed. Over the years, over decades, the library keep on changing with the times to meet the needs of the children, of the family, with each new generation, with each technology. So I'm very grateful to have the library in our community. When I think about library, I really think about libraries build dreams. Does not matter where you come from, who you are, having the resource of the library, the books, the research, the knowledge, everything really helps everyone build their dreams and achieve their dreams. So please keep up the good work, and you have our support.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank Mrs. Cooley for the job that you've been doing here, and all the people that are behind you, too, because there's a bunch of input that goes into this. But going on with Councilor Robinson, it said these numbers for outreach are tremendous. Just from last year to this year, it's a 70% increase in the number of people served. That's impressive. That is really impressive. The number of adult and children's programs, the increase in each year in the last 3 years, I don't know what you're doing over there, but what you're doing is working. And kudos to you and your staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Dakota. Councilor Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We should all be, and I know we all are, proud of the work that Bridget Cooley and her team have done on behalf of the community. I thank Councilor Chow for mentioning me in connection with the library. I am a member of the Pollard Memorial Library Foundation, which is a 501c3 that helps support our library, and I have filed a Form 23B3 to put the public on notice about that. I also thank Councilor Robinson for reading from the report highlighting the bookmobile, and I would suggest that everybody read the report that was attached to the agenda because it highlights the library as a center of learning, as a community center, how it brings people together to build community, do projects, read and learn. And as a UNESCO learning city, as Ms. Cooley mentioned, that really is at the heart of everything in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. And thank you. Everybody else has already thanked everybody back here about 100 times, so I'll just say it once, but thank you. And then I think going off what Councilor Dakota and Councilor Robinson and everybody else that's spoken so far has said, I do think the increase in number of people served is incredible. I also think it is April, and as we head towards budget season, I think it is worth saying, one, for myself, and two, reminding my colleagues and everybody else here and watching at home that all of this amazing work isn't free. I have no affiliation with the library, but I have a library card. All of this amazing work isn't free, and the work, the frankly incredible return on investment in terms of program growth and residents served has been done on a fairly minimal budget. And I think that, I know that it's going to be a lean year, but I think as we are going through the budget, trying to preserve as much of that funding for the library and those services that are directly resident facing and seem to be making a really big impact, I would just ask that we keep that in mind as we move through the budget process. But thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. Councilor Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Please join me to give another hand to the friend and the trustee of the library. Without them, and Bridget, of course, and the staff for the remarkable job. I recall many years ago when Mayor then Samaras, we talked about the bookmobile. I was honored at that time to join Mayor Samaras to sponsor a motion for bookmobile. Then Councilor Duran was still, was not a council yet, but was either a board trustee or a friend of the library, reached out to me for not just the bookmobile, but also the funding for the library that was struggle at the time. You know, I said, why? Why the library struggle? Why can't we help the library? We can cut elsewhere, but the library is so important because I truly believe that the more kids read, the better they become. Not just kids, adults too. The more you read, the better you become. So the library, the idea of the bookmobile going to the community is this, that there's a lot of parents that work either first shift or second shift or two jobs, couldn't take their kid to the library. So you bring the library to the community, to the district, and that's what this bookmobile done. And the number that Councilor Robinson read is remarkable. In 3 years, you see a 75% increase in terms of number of people served. It makes our community, our younger people, smarter, better by bringing the book to them. I like this idea very much. And I concur with Councilor McDonough that their budget is small. Let's do what we can. I know the administration, previous and now administration through Connor Baldwin, has been working closely with the library to make sure that we sustain their funding. So I know that this coming years is going to be a huge cut and tax increase, but let's join me and everyone here in the council, support the library, making sure that their funding is not being cut, because it's small funding, right? So with that, I thank you for all you've done, the friend, the trustee, Bridget and the staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Noon. Councilor Liang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to mention a few things. My kid and I used to use the library a lot. And one of the things that I like to see more also is the community partnership. I used to volunteer and taught computer at the senior center. There's a lab there that I used to teach, especially the older community member about the process, just basic computer usage. And that was part of the library program. And I know we have a lot of expertise in the community, but due to budget, I guess, issues, this might be a way of connecting with the community and also keep the kid, and the increasing amount of kids inside the libraries is really, really a good idea. And I need to actually congratulate all the teams at the library and also the community partnership for this growth. And thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you, Councilor Liang. If I could just take 2 minutes from up here. 4 years ago, when I got elected to the city council, one of the first people I ever met was Councilor Belinda Duran and the Board of Trustees from the library. And they sat down and they highlighted everything that they could change and they would change if we gave them the funding source. We put up and gave them the funding source, and when you look today, you look at the children's program where we look, and that's the most important part of growth in our city, is teaching children literacy. And the growth is over 2/3. You're watching the numbers grow, and the young adult program is grown, and the adult program has grown. And not only has grown, but the attendance is way up. And sometimes we have a hard time getting kids to go to school. But when you see people who are so kind and caring and giving as you have at the library, kids want to come back. And I think that's a big benefit from your leadership, Ms. Cooley, over at the library, and what you bring to the table for all of us and all of the volunteers and all of the staff over there. It's the kind caring that makes someone want to learn and come back. And when you look at the growth, you guys all kept your promise. And we don't always see that in government. We spend money and we don't see the promises come to fruition. But today, when you look at this outline, we absolutely saw we got more than we ever paid for out of all of this. So I want to thank all of you for that. And from the council, we thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Scott. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. We'll go to 5.2, Information Report, Frontrunner City Program Update, SICC, the MOU. We have some registered speakers, so we're going to go to the registered speakers first. Ms. Clerk.
Timothy Collins.
It's been a while.
Let's see if you can do as well as your son did.
Yeah, I know, right? Big shoes to fill there with that kid.
There you go.
First of all, good evening, members of the City Council, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager. My name is Timothy Collins, and I'm a resident of 103 and L Street and a proud union iron worker representing Local 7 out of Boston. Today, we stand at a historic crossroads. With the recent announcement of a potential $2 billion investment through the Memorandum of Understanding and our status as the first U.S. frontrunner city, we are essentially writing the next chapter of Lowell's history. But as we look forward to this future of urban transformation, we must ensure that it is rooted in the values of the people who built this city, and that is the workers. Lowell has always been defined by its labor. Nearly 200 years ago, the Lowell Mill Girls didn't just operate looms, they pioneered the American labor movement. In 1834 and 1836, when faced with wage cuts, these women organized the first union of working women in this country's history. They lived in company boarding houses, worked 14-hour days, and eventually forced the state to investigate factory conditions, the first such government inquiry in the United States. They taught us that economic growth without worker protections is hollow. From the native-born women of the 1830s to the waves of the Irish, Greek, and Southeast Asian immigrants who followed, Lowell's prosperity has always been bought with the grit of organized labor. As this $2 billion investment moves from paper to projects within the JAM urban renewal area, I urge this council to honor that legacy. Transformation must be inclusive. This means prioritizing union labor by ensuring that new construction and manufacturing jobs are filled by workers with the protection of collective bargaining. This means sustainable wages and remembering that the Lowell Female Labor Reform Association fought for dignity, not just survival. This means community accountability and holding our global partners to the same high standards our ancestors fought to establish. We are a front-runner city because of our innovation, but we are the mill city because of our people. Let's make sure this investment serves the families who live here, not just the corporations moving in. In the 1840s, Lowell workers famously said they would not be slaves to corporate avarice. Today, let us say that we will be partners in a prosperous, union-strong future. Let's build a Lowell that the mill girls would be proud of. Thank you.
Joe Hungler?
Good evening. I'm Joe Hungler, 178 Loose Street in Lowell, and also the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club. And I came down today because from the time I started hearing about this Frontrunner city, it was incredibly exciting as we watched, like you look, when you start doing the research, I read both books from the people there, and you look at the 17 sustainability things that you're supposed to do this, and it aligns with everything the city talks about. No poverty, good jobs, education. I'm not going to list all 17, but it you know, you see all that, and I look at what we're trying to do at the Boys and Girls Club in ending generational poverty, and it all aligns with that. And you know, you see $2 billion coming into this community is hard to say without laughing because it's such a big number. And as somebody who's asked probably everybody in this room for support, whether it's financial or otherwise, having that much outside money coming to our city is just an amazing opportunity. And as we just built a teen center, thanks to the people in this room and to this council, watching kids move in that teen center, they act differently than they did in our old teen center because they feel valued, because they feel safe, because things work around them. And I knew that before we did this, but after seeing it, and that's going to be the same thing that happens in the JAM district when all these residents walk in that space, they're going to have an improved district. And the fact that they're trying to do this with all the things that Kathy's here somewhere, Kathy from does with affordable home ownership, if that happens, so it's the people who live in this city who are going to benefit from this and really change and end generational poverty. And as somebody who runs the Boys and Girls Club, to have our kids, when we bring them to the place where they can get an education, where they can work in the trades, where they can get a good job, and they can then have a place to live in Lowell. Because what I hear from alumni is it's really hard to find a place that they can afford to live and stay here, and they want to stay part of the community. So I just wanted to come down and say thank you for all the hard work that went into this, because I know that this just didn't drop from the sky. And I'm really excited about to see it come to fruition. Thank you.
Amy Thomas?
Hi, my name is Amy Thomas. I live at 76 Bowden Street. I'm just here to support the Frontrunners City and also to make sure that there's local jobs for the local residents, and that way there we can keep building for the future. Thank you.
Stephen Conlon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen Conlon. I'm from 200 Carpath Road in Tewksbury. I am an organizer with Laborers Union Local 429 here in Lowell. I'm here tonight because we definitely support the Frontrunner City project and the investment behind it. It's especially when it creates strong job opportunities for local tradesmen and women with livable wages, access to quality health insurance, and an honest path to retirement here in Lowell. Projects like this also help straighten the local economy and create lasting opportunities for a community as a whole. Thank you.
That was the last speaker, Council. That's the last registered speaker.
Mr. Mayor, I think we do have a couple more that want to speak. Make a motion to allow speakers if they want to.
Motion by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Robinson to open up the podium to anyone wishing to speak. Just please state your name and address for the record and understand that we have a 3-minute limit. Council Rourke made me say that.
I did register, however, I'm sorry. I wasn't on the roster. 3 minutes, okay, let's see. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor, City Managers, City Councilors, and the community of Lowell. My name is Kathy Mercado. Currently, I am the Executive Director of Merrimack Valley Housing Partnership. We have been promoting home ownership for 40 years now, helping families build financial stability through home ownership. Here tonight to express Merrimack Valley's Housing Partnership's strong support of this MOU. Now, I was able to visit Canada and with the delegation, and it was an eye-opening experience what redevelopment looks like in a community, especially like the Acre or the Jam Plus area. And that was very personal and touching for me, just because it looked just like the Acre where I grew up and what they did with that community. I am going to read a little bit so I don't go off direction. So Regent Park was this instructive urban redevelopment in North America, formerly isolated public housing community in downtown Toronto that was reimagined as mixed income, mixed use neighborhood. The redevelopment plan called Regent Park to be built mixed income neighborhood, the former patterns restored and housing designed to reflect adjacent neighborhoods, ending the community's physical isolation from the rest of the city. Walking through that, what struck me most was the people, families of every age, background, seniors, young children, longtime residents, all sharing the same streets, the same parks, the same community. That's something that you don't typically see when you see all these different backgrounds and all these different age groups sharing the same community, which was really special to me personally. Now, home ownership is a pillar to generational wealth. We hear that buzzword all the time. However, it's so valid. We need more home ownership. And I think that with money like this coming into the city, we can definitely do much more. And not just rental. Rental should just be a stepping stone for something better. It shouldn't be a cycle. It shouldn't be a system set up for people to fail. And we do need mixed income, market rate. And I think that this MOU and this, if we're lucky enough to see this money come to the city of Lowell, which I hope it does, I'm optimistic that this will happen. And I am in full support of this MOU and to the city. And thank you for the initiative and for continuing to do the hard work that you all do. And I think my 3 minutes is up. Mayor, thank you, and thank you to the City Council again, but thank you to the City of Lowell and for what we do, and especially for our union workers that do the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the administration, councilors, good evening. Corey Belanger, 200 Rogers Street. Very exciting, transformative time this is about to be for the City of Lowell. Now, the City of Lowell was just ranked 3rd best city in the Northeast to live. will get ready to be number one. This will be dubbed Lowell's Industrial Revolution 2.0 when this is all said and done. Now, it was determined very early through early meetings with the Urban Economy Forum, which I'd like to give them a shout out and a thank you for choosing Lowell. But we saw very early that Lowell fit the bill for what the Urban Economy Forum was looking for. With our goals through previous administrations and current on sustainability, housing initiatives, economic development, it was soon on full display that Lowell was head and shoulders above cities our size, mid-sized cities in the United States of America. And that's part of the reason why the city of Lowell is only one that got this generous award, and it's Lowell. But although we know we fit the bill, we also realized that nothing was 100% until it's done. Now, the manager and his administration worked tirelessly. Countless hours were put in through meetings and travel to get this thing across the finish line, as well as previous council, as well as I know it's in very good hands with this current city council. So very exciting time. It won't be long before the jam area and MBTA zone will be unrecognizable. And there's much needed relief on the way for the homeowners, the taxpayers of Lowell, where the much needed new tax growth will help everybody. That's less burden on them while we create new tax growth. So that's very exciting news for the taxpayers of Lowell. A lot of good going on here, but it takes a lot of people rowing in the same direction to cross this finish line. And we're going to need that moving forward. So I pledge to be your biggest advocate, civilian advocate for this initiative to make sure that this reaches new heights than we already are. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. My name's Dennis McCarthy. I live at 216 Foster Street. I'm an architect here in the city, as well as a member for the past 12 years on the zoning board. I just want to thank the City Council, Councilor Rourke, Manager Golden, and Mayor Gitschier, and all of our councilors who have helped us get to this agreement. Funding alone is such an important part of all forward-thinking projects, but when the financial team brings this forward thinking to the table, it's a very rare opportunity. This memorandum is very well drafted, in my opinion, and provides a solid foundation on which we can build a strong, vibrant community that incorporates the strongest environmental requirements as well as the inclusive aspects and so many other things in this agreement. I'm so glad that I am still alive as well and here in the city of Lowell to see this happen. As a now 65-year-old Ouellian with 3 children and their spouses and 3 grandchildren who are all residents here as well, I'm just so grateful that I'm here to see this day come. So few communities have this opportunity, and we should do all we can to continue this forward movement and help make this happen. Thanks again for staying the course and finding a way to bring this opportunity to Lowell. I only ask that there might be a place in our community center, the Lowell Center for the Arts, to be associated with this opportunity when the time is right. Thank you.
Councilor Rourke.
Go to the manager first, Mr. Mayor, please.
Manager Golden.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councilors, thank you all very much for this opportunity. And to the people that are here tonight, thank you for being here. But to the residents that are home, you have to feel the energy that is here. To say July 1st of 2024, it started with an article. That's how this all happened. We took a chance and started to tell the world what Lowell was all about. It was about opportunity. And we've talked about the city of opportunity. We've talked about all of this and more. From that, at the time, Councilor Rourke, now Mayor Rourke, attended, I believe it was in October of 2024, UEF 6. In October of 2025, a larger contingent went up to, for the UEF in October of 2025. The excitement started to build. the urban economy named the city of Lowell a front-runner city. We know this. So what is happening today? So the front-runner city, it's a designation that we've all been celebrating, we've been discussing, and we've been talking about. What could it be? What's aspirational? What should be happening here in the city of Lowell? What happened in Regent Park? Regent Park in 1995, a group of people came together and went to Toronto, the tenant association up there, and talked about how to make a change. Most of the council and most of the people that have done the research have seen what Regent Park has been through, have seen what we can be. And to all of my friends at home, if you haven't had an opportunity to look at Regent Park, please do. And as people were talking about it, being able to see it and touch it and look at the changes, that's what urban redevelopment is. With the front-runner city, the individuals that we've been talking to, and I do want to say thank you very much to the countless meetings for planning and development, the law department, my office. We're probably talking to our friends at the front-runner city a couple of times a week to discuss big things. And what the front-runner city has done, and it took me time to have this discussion and really think about this. It's taught our group to think bigger. It's taught our group to stretch. It's taught our organization, from this administration standpoint, to say, what else can we do? A number of issues have come out, a number of thoughts, a number of challenges, and as we're talking to these folks, we're like, wow, that idea is a little far-fetched. And as we start to learn about what the front-runner city is doing, they're introducing us to a global network. They're introducing us, they're coaching us, they're teaching us to continue to stretch. Planning for the future. Planning for tomorrow's city. That's what we are doing with the front-runner city. I've talked about everything that has been going on with the hard work and the meetings, but what this has led us to today is an MOU with a suitor, with a potential funding mechanism. And I say potential. Solar International Corps Canada, which is in front of the council tonight, it's the first step that we have in looking towards this funding mechanism. A future protocol that we will continue to work on to find out how to get this done. It's a multi-phase. It's going to be very collaborative. They are all about transparency in trying to see what can happen next. What is the stretch? So we have two things going on right now. We have the Urban Economy Forum, the front-runner city. They put us on the world stage. They gave us the ability to brag about Lowell. And what has happened? Similar to what happened in Regent Park, there's a company called the Daniels Corporation. And the Daniels Corporation was created. And that corporation was the financing, or the bank, if you would, an opportunity for Regent Park. What we have before us tonight with SICC is that funding resource. If you want to think of it as a bank, if you want to think of it as an opportunity, if you want to think about it as another chance, that's what we're presenting here tonight. There's a lot of questions to be asked. There's a lot of what ifs and what's going to happen and how are we going to get this done. And the administration, as well as the council, have been talking about this. We've been talking about this on how to start our financing. We can have all the great ideas we want. We can talk about these things that are unattainable. However, you always need financing. And we're going through a budget which is going to be challenging. And my guess is not only the city of Lowell is going to be going through a challenging time, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, maybe this country as a whole. But having this potential opportunity to do this is something that no other city in the United States is doing. Nobody has ever seen anything like this. But to the councilors that had been up to Toronto, they physically had the chance to touch it. They physically had a chance to see it. It might be a lot easier if the Daniels Corporation was in Lowell, Massachusetts, or quite frankly, the United States, but they're not. But They've also found out that there are a number of issues that they could have done better. And that is what is before us tonight, an MOU to start the process to collaborate, to ensure exactly what our friends in labor were talking about, to make sure that the jobs, to make sure that things were being created, to make sure that the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, are all being met. And it's important to note in the beginning of all this, so I'm trying to draw that line. The Urban Economy Forum, the Frontrunner City are over here, and then you have the bank or the financing folks, which is SICC. There's that line of demarcation. Why do we need another MOU? Why do we need to put this forward? Why? Because it's a different protocol when you start financing with money. So I'm so excited. I don't want to talk any longer. I have probably another 20 minutes of notes to discuss. But with the excitement of what is happening today and for the future of the city of Lowell, it is the city of opportunity. We haven't changed our name, changed our logo just because it's words. It's not words. This is about the opportunity, all of this and more. Is it going to start tomorrow? I sure hope so. But let's be honest. When you're looking at $2 billion of potential investment, we need to vet, we need to make sure that we're in good order. This council is going to have to come back once the team does its work to make sure this is where we want to go. I want to say thank you very much to the former mayor and the current mayor and all of the council that was here previously and to this council tonight. This is something that no other city in the United States has the opportunity. And with how I see the economy going, this is probably one of the biggest opportunities. In talking to other people, how did you do it? How did you get it done? How did you do the city of Lowell? Because we consistently try to do things different, think out of the box, think differently. Some people thought it was crazy when we were going up to Canada to talk to these folks. And quite frankly, maybe it was. But this is how opportunity works. So tonight, I would hope that it's not necessarily a vote. This is just on tonight as an informational. But of course, we'll take all of the information. Some of our friends have already talked about the information. Some of our friends that are here that care about the environment, they already know it's in the SDG. I think it's 17 to be exact, I hope. But this is our chance to grow this city when we talk about the future growth of our city. And once again, I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank the councilors who have made those trips. They're not easy. They're typically in the middle of nowhere. And I don't remember a lot of exciting things happening, inside of boardrooms and discussions and talks. And they're coming back again. We're going to, probably go up again. But this is, I believe, the opportunity that we're all looking for. And this could be the future of our city. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and we'd be happy to answer any questions on this.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. We're going to go from your left this way this time. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to start by thanking former Mayor Rourke, City Councilor Rourke next to me. Without his passion for this, I don't think we'd be here right now having this discussion. I'd also like to thank the city administration for really running with this and thinking big, tired from running with it, and the DPD, our DPD, for their absolutely incredible work. Without them, we would not be here right now. This is really, you've convinced them that Lowell is worth investing in. You love Lowell, and I think that came across to everybody involved, and I think, I thank you for that. I think this is an absolutely, the word opportunity, you said it a few times, it's the perfect word for this. Housing, jobs, our children not to be priced out of living in the city and being able to get jobs and stay here. These are things that are just so important to all of us, and I'm just beyond excited about this, and I just, again, thank you all.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also would like to echo. I thank former Mayor Rourke, Councilor Rourke, and the entire administration. I was fortunate enough to go up to Toronto and kick that dirt up there, touch these buildings, see the elderly people playing bocce in the middle of the afternoon. They had the ice skating rink. That's something we've been looking for. I mean, but above and beyond that, one thing the things that catch my attention are the small things, the attention to detail things. Everything from the way they set up their storm drains so that it's poured and goes below the sidewalks and waters the roots of the trees, the street trees that are planted. Recycling, reusing, repurposing the stormwater that comes down instead of being stuck in a one-pipe system and sending it out for treatment. I mean, everything like the flexibility that's baked into what community-led initiatives that we saw up there. Their rec center, their pool center, quick story, we were told about how when they opened it up after completion, the residents were utilizing it, but they noticed a certain population of that area was not utilizing that space. And when they went and reached out and discussed and asked why, it was because their religious beliefs, it prevented them from showing skin and swimming in the general public. So what did they do? They had the flexibility to adapt, and they carved out a specific designated time for those residents to be able to utilize that public space so it fit what they needed. It's that flexibility, it's that willingness to listen and adapt these taxpayer-provided resources to fit the needs of that community. Our friends that spoke earlier, organized labor, that was something with my labor background that obviously I was curious about, and we've been reassured time and time again, the same organization behind this, that's what UEF, they also are passionate about making sure that local people have local jobs. It's everything that we've heard since I've been on this council, a combination of every different group that had different challenges, concerns, they're bringing ideas forward, rolled into a ball. And what this is more or less an update. This is basically showing that this is still on track. We're still moving forward, and now it's getting real. There's potentially a funding mechanism in place. And for what people don't realize is to see up to $2 billion of investment, this isn't a gift. A stork's not going to drop $2 billion in the city's lap and walk away. This isn't someone looking to purchase $2 billion worth of Lowell's real estate and capture the city. This is potentially an opportunity to provide much lower interest rate loans to commercial developments for projects that fall in line with what our community has been talking about doing for quite some time. This redevelopment makes projects possible, because if we had to go the traditional way right now, I think we've all seen it's not going to happen. With 7, 8, 9, 10s, and 11% interest rates or more, you're not going to get that commercial kind of buying power, so to say, when your return on investment is so low in a city like Lowell. Because if a project costs you $10 million to do in Lowell and your return is minimal, that same project's going to cost you $10 million in a market where your return is going to be that much larger. So I'm thankful to see everybody still continuing to plug away, and I think we have great support throughout the community. I think our responsibility is to continue the transparency and make sure that our residents and all of our allies that are eagerly waiting in the wings to see what this is really about, we ensure that we're transparent and keep them informed every step of the way. And I really thank everybody involved that's brought it this far. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Councilor Noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too want to echo everyone, my colleague from my left, to thank former Mayor Dan Brooke and our City Council, and you, Mr. Mayor, and the administration, all this council here, past and present, for advocating for this first Frontrunner City MOU, and now this MOU with the this SICC group. Also want to thank the speakers who spoke in support of this. As manager indicated that, we are a city of opportunity for really a huge economic development that we do need, given the upcoming budget and future budget for the city. We could use more taxes and more businesses to come into the city. This is huge. This is a lot of money. that are coming to the city this way. And I do agree that this is an informational, more like informational to the council. Since this is an informational piece of it, I would ask the administration, the managers, to get us more information about individual and/or entity investor here that we have on the MOU. Getting more information about any past project that they have worked on. Get us more information about their balance sheet. Those is kind of information, more like go to transparency, go to more information about this group that we're working with. This is a lot of money. And you know, and knowing this, knowing the entity, knowing the investor that's coming in, this group, certainly is going to enable us to look at where this money come from. And that's important because, you know, as we invest, as we, you know, bring in new business to the city, we want that. Just like we did with Draper, just like we did with the other company that come before us with MOUs and soon to lead to LDAs and whatnot. And that's getting to LDA is going to be serious at that stage. So why can't we just let's get some more information about this individual investor or entity and their balance sheet and, you know, past project they work on, so it enables us to have a better informed decision as to who we're working with here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor New and Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we talk about what an investment is, I'll tell you what an investment is. And then when we hear this all the time, but a true investment is where we are today. It's the city of Lowell providing the former mayor with a business card. And he took that business card and he read an article and he sent that business card to these people, equals not $2 million, $2 billion. Danny Rourke, you are amazing. I salute you and I applaud you. That's what an investment is all about. This is a remarkable opportunity that this council has right here for all the work with the DPD, the different departments, a city manager, so many people that got involved in this MOU that we're facing tonight to vote to establish a memorandum of understanding. This is an agreement that establishes the framework for the SICC, which is the Solar International Court Canada, to serve as a master investor and capital partner for strategic development initiatives within the JAM Urban Renewal Plan. It doesn't get any better than that. You heard the speakers. I applaud all the speakers that came up here to the podium. I won't reiterate what they said, because that'd be another hour and a half, but they did a tremendous job. They narrowed it down, and that's what it's all about. Lastly, I'll say Mr. McCarthy came up and he said he's thrilled to be alive at 65 to see this come into fruition. I'm ecstatic to be alive at my age. I want to be here when we spin down the $2 billion. That's my goal. Thank you so much.
Councilor Mercia, I wish I could climb a 26-foot tower at your age. Councilor McDonough. You're all set. Councilor Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I probably going to have to sort of repeat a little bit of what Speaker has said. And $2 billion, that's a lot of money. And I do hope that it's get clearer into the future in how we come up with this $2 billion numbers. Because right now I don't know. I'm happy. I see $2 billion. I'm happy, but how did we come up with $2 billion? Is there some kind of mechanism or projects in place that we might see in the future that will come up with these $2 billion? Also, really appreciate the speaker talking about jobs, about decreasing the poverty rates in the city of Lowell, local job, and also have our residents stay grounded within our city. And this is a big money. A lot of my community members, when they hear the word development, they seem to be afraid. Mostly, development seem to chase them away from their homes. And I hope that this $2 billion help them, get this home ownership, let them stay in place, stay in Lowell, and we get a clearer pictures about this potential opportunity within the city. Because right now, I think it is a good intent of what to do. The project might be coming in the future, but I think there should be more clearer pictures about local job, union jobs, home ownerships, and especially for me, is basically have our residents stay grounded within the city. And again, $2 billion, that's a lot of money. It could be $3 billion, I don't know. But there should be, I could be a little bit more happy if I can see the outcome or the numbers, how it come about to $2 billion. That would be nice. Thank you.
Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. Sorry, I was still chomping on a Milky Way. I echo a lot of what my colleagues have said. I know I always have a hard time with thank yous. However, this could be very good. I think I agree a lot. I agree with a lot of what Councillor Liang and Councillor Noon have said so far, where this could be a lot of things. And I think I appreciate that it's an informational and that we're not looking for a vote tonight. A couple of questions that have come to me both in reading through the proposed informative MOU and in listening to the speakers. I think Tim Collins had a phenomenal bit at the podium about jobs and union jobs. And I would just like to say that I hope as the protocols that were referenced all over the place are developed and solidified, if we continue down the path, that there will be some concrete written provisions around things like PLAs and local workforce requirements, and that we don't just have unions coming in to say this could be union jobs, but we actually know it will be union jobs. I also, in looking the advisory joint task force where it talks about establishing that, obviously early in the process, there are a lot of people that currently live in the Jam neighborhood. It's a very, very dense part of the city. My district, like Councillor Yang's district, here's development, and there's one small group that gets very excited, and there's another much larger group that gets very, very nervous. And I just want to make sure that when we're forming this advisory joint task force, that it's not just the city's interest broadly that's represented, but that the neighborhood itself actually has a meaningful input in the process and in a real seat at the table, not just a community listening session, but that there's a real voice at that table. Another speaker, I would also echo, I'd want to make sure, and again, we're very early in the process, but there is nothing yet in this MOU, and I say that knowing how early we are, but I would hope that when the protocols are established and they come forward and we continue to talk about this, that there is something in writing, in concrete, around first-time homebuyer programs, first-time homebuyer incentives, maybe something like a defined minimum of owner-occupied space in these developments, just making sure that the city actually, that it's not just, the $2 billion with a B is not just a talking point, but that our residents really can see the impact of this development and are not kind of scratching their head going, well, did we really get $2 billion in investment, or was it so? And I think the local hiring, first-time homebuyer thing, that is something that people can touch and see and really mean something to a lot of people. I do share some of Councillor Noon's questions, comments. I might go so far as to say a concern just around the history of this SICC company and kind of any past development projects they have, especially in an urban North American context. I can see that they seem to have a lot of involvement with like an oil refinery, which is a lot of money, and I know that there's a push to diversify those investments, which is very good for us, but making sure that they have the people in place here to actually deliver. Sorry, I want to make sure I think I got it all. Specific person. One question I do have that maybe can be answered tonight. There does seem to be a bit of overlap between the UEF folks and the SIC folks. I saw at least a couple names pop up a couple times, which could make sense. I guess I didn't get to go to Toronto. This is not like that's nefarious. This is like just trying to understand how we wound up where we wound up. I know it's been a lot of phone calls and a lot of travel, and you and your team have done a lot of work here. But yeah, no, overall, I think this could be a step in the right direction, or it could be great. I just want to make sure that everybody at home also knows that we're not voting on anything tonight. There's no money coming tomorrow, but we're early in the process, but we're further than we were.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. Councilor Duran.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Lowell deserves the best, and this MOU, I think, is the next step in a welcome and critical transformation of our city. And I thank former Mayor Rourke, the city manager, and the administration for getting us to this point. I'm excited about this opportunity, but now comes the real work. In many ways, this MOU is like a couple in love that has just gotten engaged. It's a public announcement of intent, but no money is committed yet, and we don't yet have a binding commitment. Now the city and its advisors must negotiate the protocol and definitive agreements, which is the equivalent of getting to know our fiancé better as we plan the wedding and how we will run our marriage. I know that's a bit of a stretch. We have to plan so that we don't end up with unintended consequences, like a private garage without the related development that we need. As with any public-private partnership, the relationship must be win-win, and the city should not downplay the value we bring to the table. We are an amazing city, not only the first U.S. Frontrunner city and the first U.S. UNESCO Learning City, as well as, but we're also Livability's Best Place to Live in Massachusetts, home of UMass Lowell, and an R1 research institution, among many other things. We are not and should never act like a poor stepchild. In fact, I think of Lowell like Cinderella, desired by a rich and glamorous prince despite our sometimes dowdy clothing, but that's because underneath it all, Lowell has the attributes on which a long-term relationship can grow. Lowell is the best, and we deserve the best. We must encourage this development while keeping an eye on the details to protect the city's interests. We must be simultaneously realistic and visionary. Having spent over 20 years as a deal lawyer, I know there are a number of steps we need to take to achieve a win-win outcome, and I know how much work is involved. We need to do this hard work and do it with focus, intention, a vision, and a plan. I'm sure that our city administration recognizes the importance of investing in advisors who are experienced with this type of deal to provide guidance, advice, and issue spotting. Having negotiated both public-private partnerships and billion-dollar deals in my career, I know that a billion-dollar deal is not just the equivalent of 1,000 $1 million deals. It is different in size and complexity. Even when I had a legal team of 12 lawyers in my practice, I relied on many others to ensure that the deals achieved my clients' goals. And I would urge any client, including the city, to invest in experienced negotiators, sophisticated financial advisors, and lawyers who have done multiples of this type of deal, and who have access to international advisors, including those who specialize in real estate development, international investment, including laws about foreign investment in the U.S., and other areas of law, so that we're aware of the risks and able to make the right decisions to achieve our goals. Further, trust is as important in relationships as contracts are. Coming to better understand our, quote, fiance and getting to know its family members requires due diligence, as Councillor Noon indicated. And finally, the advisory task force should be broadly representative of all of Lowell's interests. I would recommend including one representative from each of at least the downtown neighborhood group, the community health center, the Lowell plan, a developer who's worked in Lowell, and a local business at a minimum, as well as the advisors I'd mentioned. But I would not overwhelm the task force with bodies. The task force really needs a clear voting process so that no one person or constituency can veto progress, but that all voices are heard. We also have an opportunity, as has been mentioned here, to consider whether and how community benefit agreements will be incorporated into the plans. We can't yet count our chickens before they're hatched, but we can make sure that the eggs in our basket are well tended and will produce laying hens. Another bad analogy. Lowell deserves the best, and we have the opportunity to ensure that it gets the best from this relationship. I'm excited that we have this opportunity to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any witty analogies, but I'll be brief. As Councilor Mercy had pointed out earlier, without the initiative of former Mayor Rourke, we wouldn't all be sitting here at this point, and I truly believe that this will be Daniel Rourke's legacy once this is all said and done. With that being said, I was one of the councilors who had the privilege of visiting both Toronto and Geneva. And actually today, I had to pick up some food at a restaurant on Thorndike Street, and I looked across the street at the Rogers School and saw the South Common. And then I thought to myself, wow, wouldn't Regent Park look great there? And I said, I'm going to take a picture of this, and I'm going to be able to take a picture in the next whatever years it takes, but that's what South Common is going to look like. Gallagher Terminal is going to be totally revitalized, mixed-use housing. It's going to be unbelievable. Am I dreaming? No, I'm not dreaming, because I saw what Toronto and I saw what Geneva is like, and this is what Lowell will be. And for my kids and my grandkids, it's going to be an unbelievable city to live in. And I thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Dakota, I think you'll be pretty impressed. I got a nice picture today from a resident of kids running the track over at the South Common, and they were extremely impressed by the work that everyone has done. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I truly enjoy Councilor Duran's speech. I understand why you're aboard on the library. Listening to the speech was like reading a library book, a storybook. And you know, the Frontrunner city and the MOU, the potential $2 billion investment coming to the city, it is like a storybook. It is a story for Lowell. Very, very excited about it. And like everyone here mentioned, you know, I thank former Mayor Rourke, the administration, and all the supporters that work the front and the background to make these things happen. Just a brief story. I was also honored to be part of the delegation that went to Toronto and Geneva. And one of the conference was open to other leaders from all the world. You had leaders from Central America, from Europe, from Canada, pretty much many, many continents. And as we were sitting listening to the UEF programming, the SDG, what the UN is trying to do, what this program is trying to do, and I was sitting next to a few people when they learned that I was from Lowell, the recipient of the Frontrunner city. They were just in awe. They were amazed. They just couldn't believe how our city in Lowell, where they didn't even know where Lowell was, and they just couldn't believe that we were the recipient of this Frontrunner city and the potential investment that were to come. And I think this MOU laid the groundwork for that. Very excited to have this type of investment into our city, and as many councils mentioned before, the story of Lowell, you know, we start with one speaker mentioned, from the mill girls, the Industrial Revolution, to the many changes, the different group of people that come to Lowell. And what brought us, what made us eligible and qualified for the front of city is Lowell, is who we are, what we are, to make up the city. So as we move forward, as we develop, as we grow, we really don't want to leave anyone behind. As people mentioned, when people hear about development, some people are excited and some people are nervous about it. But I think if we're able to bring everybody forward, and one of the reasons why I support the SDG and the UEF program, they were talking about inclusiveness. It's not about one group of people to benefit and leave other people behind. It was about inclusion, that everybody move forward together. And when I think about the inclusion and the various aspects of it, we have to include, I know in the MOU, often mentioned the GM plan and the MBTA, but I think we need to include other neighborhoods. For example, close to my heart would be the Acre, the Lower Highlands, the Upper Highlands, but every neighborhood in the city need to be included. And in addition to that, when we think about development and growth, we always think about new investment, new development. I think part of the investment would also should help existing businesses to expand if they wish to expand, to grow along with the new development. In addition to existing businesses that wish to expand, that should receive those new investment, the organizations also, some of the nonprofits, the stakeholders that are doing so much to help maintain Lowell, to help Lowell move forward, I think they should also benefit something new investments coming in. So that's what inclusions mean to me. It's not just about everything's new. It's about taking care of what's already exists. It's taking care of everyone, businesses, organizations that have brought Lowell to where we are today. With that said, I think there's nothing but good things ahead, good potential ahead. I believe in this administration. I believe in this council body. I believe in our residents, the stakeholders that make sure that Lowell will move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Rook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you everybody that came down and spoke this evening in support, and thank you for the kind words. But and I said it on Saturday when I was on local radio with the mayor. Anybody sitting in that seat at the time, we'd still be in the same position that we're in today. I mean, there's an opportunity that came up that anybody would have been silly not to take advantage of, and we are here today. And you hear some of the concerns, and this has been an 18-month project. From the start, this didn't happen overnight. We talk about things that we want to do as a city that we've talked about as this council for the past 4.5 years. We've all mentioned affordable home ownership, for example, and that's one of the things that was preached to us in the multiple meetings and the trips. We went up there, and you could see it. You had these buildings where there was mixed within the building, where they had a copper, a firefighter on one floor, an affordable housing on another floor, and a millionaire on another floor. And what you saw there was pride in where they lived. You saw people sweeping the sidewalks and the stairs, watering, flowers and grass. I mean, it's a small example of what, you hope to, for the city like Lowell to transform into. 2 blocks away, like, Ms. McDonough said, you saw the Acre, or you saw some of, the areas of the city that we need to help improve going forward. So you saw it in place in what we're doing. Higher education is something that they preach time and time again. I'm not talking out of school because there was a public meeting that was held, but, they have been in touch with President Meehan and Chancellor Chen concerning the Link project. They want to be a part of that. They want to help get these projects off the ground. Link will no longer be a concept. It actually will be something that you'll see, hopefully in the very near future. And I think that's what we want to get to. We have given presentations about what Lowell could be. There's nothing definite. Again, a lot of these things about urban transformation, and sustainability that goes into it. When I was up there with Catherine Moses, sustainability director, for a couple of days, and they hammered away of this is what it has to be done in order for us to be part of the city of Lowell in the future. It takes into all accounts everything that's important to everyday life, not only for now but in the future. And the key word that we have used going forward is opportunity, is fairness for everybody involved. And they kept on referencing Lowell many, many times, our history and this and that. And one of the things that, gets brought up all the time, and, they were here, I think, in August of 25, they mentioned when Mayor Gitschier brought them to the vocational school, showed them what happens when the community comes together with the Lowell Youth Leadership Program. And they were just shocked at the robotics that was being taught. Not just the, playing soccer or outside, but, real world things that come in, to kids, to high school kids. And that gave them hope that Lowell was the right decision that was made. They see the partnerships that we have with our nonprofit organizations, with our schools, with our higher education, our community, college and our university. All those things go in to where we are and going forward. And again, this is not something that just fell out of a tree. It's a lot of work that the manager and the DPD, and finance and the solicitor and the law department, they've all been working together for a common cause. And again, this is just the next step going forward. And they want transparency. They want people to know, why they're here, why they're doing what they're doing, and to pick us. I think it's because we deserve it. We have worked very, very hard to create a past that has our present right now, and what our future will be, not just for 5 years, 10 years, but generations down the line. And that's why we're here tonight. That's why I'm thankful for everybody that has reached out, that has spoken in support of this, because it's going to help our city, be better than we are now, and we're pretty good right now. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Rourke. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Mercier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. We're going to go back to the regular portion of the agenda. 3, City Clerk 3.1, minutes of the Rules and Election Law Subcommittee, April 14th, City Council regular meeting, April 14th, for acceptance. Motion to accept by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor Duran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 4, City Council motions. 4.1, Councilor McDonough requests the city manager have the proper department draw up an amendment to Chapter 266, Section 82 of the City Code, Acre Highlands residential parking area, by restoring Perkins Street to Schedule X. Seconded by Councilor Liang. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. I apologize for how it came through on the agenda. I think something got lost in translation between me and my email. This motion, I think, is fairly simple. Perkins Street used to be on Schedule X. I think the last time the parking code was revised, it fell off that list. I will say UMass Lowell still lists Perkins Street as being resident parking only, so I don't believe that they are using it in any way. It's listed right on there, student parking, do not park on Perkins Street, resident only, but it has fallen off of the city ordinance, and so a number of residents had reached out. They were trying to figure out whether they could park there, whether they needed a sticker to park there, if they could park there overnight, and I thought the easiest way to address the confusion was to just put it back on the list. Thank you.
Councilor Duran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have, however, seen signs on the kiosks there at times about like all-day parking or special event parking and things like that. So I'm confused about sort of the purpose of the street, because it is right by UMass Lowell, it is right by Lasher Park. And so I'm trying to think about sort of what the impact will be of putting the street on this list to things like, the university, or the spinners who are just coming to the city, et cetera, and I'm just not sure.
That would be in your motion response, right, Mr. Manager? Okay. Yeah, we'll add that into the motion response.
Okay,
All in
thank you.
favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 4.2, Mayor Gitschier requests the city manager update the city council on the bridge deck repair on the Ouellette/Aiken Street Bridge.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Noon. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It is being advertised tomorrow, so we should know in 2 weeks, and I'll be able to get your response a little over 2 weeks.
You're the best. Thank you. I was worried about the spinners and everybody playing over there when it was going to start. That's
part of our plan, Mr. Mayor.
So I withdraw the motion.
No. Let us get back to you.
Okay.
Next
motion seconded by Councilor Noon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Thank you, Mr. Manager. That's okay. Thank you. 5.1, motion response. Motion response, translations, situations, solutions, I'm sorry, translations, solutions. Councilor Liang. Could be a
Thank you so much,
situation.
Mr. Mayor. I do have two questions on this because I do believe in sustainability and I guess strong policy moving forward. Do we have this in written form?
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, not in written form, but it's a order of operations, a standard SOP that we do down in the case office. We had this issue, this problem, which was over on South Common. So we wanted to make sure that, once again, people just utilize thinking that at the time Google Translate was the way to do this. And that's obviously not the case to do this. So, Ms. DeRoches, I don't know if it's written in the office, but that's something we could standardize it to make sure it's something we always do, but we've always been doing it now. We are going to push out how we've dealt with this situation to our other partners, Lowell Housing Authority, LRTA, and things of that nature, just to make sure that they're, sometimes people see, for instance, Lowell Regional Transit Authority, I can't tell you how many phone calls I get saying, I want you to do this, and I'm like, okay, you need to call. So that's something that we can share, we can write it up and share it with our partners in the city that, share our mission, if that would be okay with you.
Right, I do appreciate that just because, imagine let's say 5-10 years from now and we don't have anything in the book and we might doing a good job now, but somebody else might be coming in and say, hey, you know what, we don't have this, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Yang. Councilor Duran.
Thank you. And I would ask the city administration to sort of make that available very broadly, because I personally have tried to get things translated into Khmer using various resources and have gotten different answers. And so anything would be helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councilor, yes, we actually paid to get it done. And I think one of the easiest ways, once again, is I do believe that mistake was made previously just because Google Translate, because everybody thought that worked, and it didn't, obviously. It works in some aspects, but I do think Councilor Liang said that he would be helpful on this as well. So we may not even have to go out anymore. I think Councilor Noon put you up to that, Councilor. So
I can draft a policy for you too.
Wow. Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Yang, seconded by Councilor Duran. Motion response B, parking bans. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. This was excellent. I did appreciate the business on Palmer Street being referenced and getting. I get how that happened. I also appreciate that it was incorporated into the after action. Thank you.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. Motion response C, 90-day pothole report. Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report very detailed, and I appreciate that very much. I didn't know that the CFO also acting as interim DPW commissioner as well, because the report came from him. You notice every report, most of the report, he's doing it. Did you get paid for that?
It's a labor of love.
Thank you. Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, I think most of the information, of course, it came from Commissioner Gitschier. It's very detailed. I appreciate it very much, and there's a lot here. I would ask the administrations to put it on, our website so that people can go and look at it. It's very detailed, and so thank you very much for the report.
Manager Golden?
Yes, Council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the Council. Councilors, please take a look at this, or even from the public standpoint, take a look and see how we can make this better. This is really 311 stretching. We're stretching, we're moving into this direction, but there is a better way to always put this type of information out. I'm not asking for tonight, but when you get an opportunity, let us know how people are looking at this and making sure that it's working for the residents of the city of Lowell. But Mr. Baldwin? Mr. Mayor, through you, Mr. Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, and through you, Mr. Mayor. We just want to thank the council for this motion and giving us the ability to, as the manager said, sort of flex some of the capabilities of 311. It was, with the motion in mind about potholes that it's got us dug into some of these issues. And so some of the reports that we're able to provide, and I want to thank the 311 team for bringing this stuff together. It's really going to change the way that we do business. It's going to allow us to analyze trends and best utilize our resources. And so it's really been a push of the council to do that. And as I mentioned off the mic, it's a labor of love to put these reports together. I know not everybody loves them as much as I do, but we do intend to put these on the website. We encourage residents to take a look at how well we're doing, where the potholes are. But again, just as a general reminder, if there is an issue in your neighborhood, if you see something, please say something. Use the 311 app. Tell us about the pothole. Tell us about any issue in your neighborhood, and we'll do our best to respond to it as soon as possible and to manage those responses to try to bring that response time down. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Mayor, if I could, asking through you to the managers, any potholes or sinkhole that has not, more than 25 or 20 days, maybe we should prioritize taking care of that first. Because there's a number of them. Some go all the way to 90 days. So, yeah. So if the manager can have the DPW team do that. Thank you.
Manager Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the council. Councilors, if you are seeing that there is always an issue or a problem, or maybe we're going at it in a different manner. So I will have them look at it. Matter of fact, Mr. Machado's writing that down right now, but there's always an underlying matter to this, and I can't speak to every single one of them.
Councilor Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually love this. I love this. This is a story of life being told by the potholes and the sinkholes, especially in the Acre area. So I urge you to look at also in the Acre why it is the way it is based on the data that's being shown. So basically, that's all I can say is that I like data and information like this so that we can do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Yang. Councilor Mercia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. There's a motto in the city that says, see something, say something. Well, I saw something, and I did something about it, and I thought it was illegal dumping, which I'm firmly believing it was. I wrote down the plate number. That's about all I thought I should do. I reported it, and they said, gee, I wish that I would have had a plate number. I said, as a matter of fact, I have a plate number. Now I get a response that says, well, we can't prove it because we have no picture of it. Please, cut it out. You got to be kidding me. How are we supposed to clean up this city and see illegal dumping if we go this route and we need more? Did they want me to get out and take the person's blood? I don't know, but it was very discouraging to me. I feel like I'm never going to report it again. I mean, I went that far. I was supposed to take a picture of it at the same time. If that's what we have to do, then please let the public know that you have to take a picture, because I didn't like the response that I got from the person.
Thank you.
So I guess this person got away with illegal dumping, but hey.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. I can't wait to see those minutes that say you're going to take someone's blood. Councilor Scott.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is great data. I love seeing this as well. I guess my only questions around it are, now that it's been, a few years, I've been reporting the same potholes every spring, every fall, the same ones pull back up again. A lot of them seem to be around maybe drainage issues because they just kind of reoccur in the same spot. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering how we're tracking, like legal claims, repeat refills of potholes. Like, how are we kind of tracking that data? That's what I'd like to see incorporated into it. Just because we're kind of keep spinning our wheels, I think, doing the same things over and over again when they need a more complex fix, I think, whether it's localized paving or drainage, repair. So thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. again, well aware of that time of year, the potholes pop out. And I agree with what my colleague just said. On Bridge Street, for example, on the way to Market Basket, I myself have seen that same pothole patched 3 to 4 times over, and it's back again. I had to swerve around it today. Are we using tack? Is that something that we're not doing around the holes and sweeping the sand on to keep traction so it bonds to the existing surface? I don't know. But it seems like whatever we're doing is not holding up at all. We might need to start looking at and speak to the commissioner and find out what is the process they're using, because I don't see any tack on a lot of the repeat offenders. Also, in some areas, I don't know what's been going on in the past month or two, but I have neighbors that have put requests in 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and still no sign of a crew. I mean, I know staffing is crazy, but we have 2 or 3 crews supposedly, or boxes that go out, and it's just, I've yet to see them come down certain roads, and I get repeat calls. They show me on 311 that it's been put in, and a lot of times they're showing me how it's closed. So I don't, there's a breakdown clearly on the potholes. And I think even on social media, you see a lot of it is funny, and I think our residents have been very patient and good sports a lot of times about waiting for them to show up, but we definitely can improve on our responses to these potholes, because yes, it is part of New England roads in the spring, but it's not really acceptable to be sitting and waiting for a month for the same potholes to get filled and have to report, and then to be told that it's closed out, and then you pop your tire or scratch your rim on it. So anything we can do to really address this would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor Duran. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Motion response D, lease agreements. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, the manager and assistant manager, Baldwin, for an incredibly detailed and extensive report. I do have a couple of questions. One flag to throw up. I'm sure we're already working on it, but I want to say it anyway. Just obviously the first one that jumps out is that the 107 or 115 Merrimack Street, sorry, through 107 Merrimack Street Realty Trust is coming up at the end of the month. Okay. I know you guys know. I'm sure something's coming in front of us, or no. Okay. Cool. I love that. Next, sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing so much tonight. Sorry. There it is. So under the parking agreements, this is actually where I'm going to have more of my questions. I guess as the counselor with all the parking garages. So is there, before I ask if there's anything we can do, on the, so it's number 13 under the parking agreements, Counting House Lofts LP, 65 spaces. I'm a little bit confused, and this might just be ignorance on my part. What are they currently paying? So it says prevailing city monthly parking rate, residential $40, commercial $52 to $64 at time of execution. Has that scaled? Like, has that increased over time, or did they lock that in when they?
CFO Baldwin.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor. So specifically with the section of the report that are the parking agreements, a lot of this is very scattered information. So I guess first, I want to thank the council for sort of tasking us with this opportunity to consolidate everything into one master list, which is a very important exercise. Some of these predate even myself being here, but this being one of them. The Counting House Lofts and the passes, or the agreement they have for passes, it's my understanding that their agreement was to pay the prevailing rate, and that would escalate as time moves on, although Mr. Ryan has left, but I will double check with him. It would be my understanding that they should be paying the 125 but it may be that they're still paying the original rate. So without having the all the details about what they are paying, I'd like to maybe get back to you on that, Counselor.
That's perfect. No, thank you. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing my mind in reading how you summarized it. I understand. I mean, I think the earliest lease agreement that I saw in here goes back to 1985, so I understand not having everything in front of you. The other one was going to be, so I'm gonna butcher the name, so I'm not going to say it. Line 14. Right underneath, 125 spaces at $48 a month, expiring in 2031. That would have been Well Mill. Is that Well Mill number 5 was still there, or is that the condos, or like, are we still using those spaces?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mayor, through to the council. The Lachulis property, I think what the CFO is trying to get at is 20 years ago, in 2011, Mr. Lachulis owned property down there, and we've seen this as, we've changed this. But it was not unpopular to say, okay, great, we'll give you, 125 spots to the tune of $48 a month. And that would have been, a fixed lease. Probably at the time, and I would have to go back to 2011 to find out what it was that the Lachulis organization was doing. My guess is it could have been anything from the school over there or anything like that. So upon 2031, that would be the renewal. But what we've tried to do as of recent, if we're giving out leases, it's something there's an automatic escalation clause in there. So, but Mr. Baldwin.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Mr. Baldwin.
One of the other nuances with this particular agreement is that there was at least one, if not a series of land takings that were part of assembling the Hamilton Canal development area. And so I believe that as perhaps part of either the eminent domain or the settlement of the lawsuit, that parking was wrapped into the global settlement in some way, shape, or form. But again, tracing back these records, we put forth as much information as we were able to gather, but happy to keep digging on any of the particular ones.
No. This is phenomenal. This is one of those things that once it comes out, and I'm not trying to hot seat anybody here. This was kind of, I think, parking costs have escalated rapidly in the last 4 years or so, and so they're numbers that I don't think a resident would have blinked at. The city certainly wasn't going to blink at, especially as part of a settlement agreement or anything. But now, you have new people move to the city. Someone pulls this up and goes, "Wait a second, how come that guy only get that guy's paying $40 and I got to pay $98?" So obviously the context, I think, matters there. The real winners, I think, are Farley White at $23.66 a month for 99 years. So if Mr. Ryan wants to come back, I'd be happy to enter into a 99-year lease agreement at that rate. But thank you for the report.
Thank you, Council McDonough. Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. CFO, for this detailed report. This is one of the first I see all the leases that the city is doing all in one place. So I appreciate that. The only thing, I know many of the leases were all the stakeholders and partners inside the city. One thing that sticks out to me was actually the lease where the city is the landlord, the lease by the RMV, and the amount is the 9,000, basically it's $18.89 per square foot, $18.89 per square foot. Is that a fair value for that space that we're leasing out? And since when would be the next opportunity to negotiate a multi-year lease with RMV? And if you could also explain, there's additional services built at cost as additional rent. What would be those additional services would be that the city would receive in revenue for this particular lease?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. In regards to the RMV, that was something that we had all worked on 20 years ago, trying to get the RMV into the downtown. Was it fair at the time? Yes. I know there is an escalation clause in that, and I also know, which I think that we've told the council, but the registry of motor vehicles will be moving from that location. We got them to stay in Lowell, which is a good thing. So that is happening. Is $18 a square foot? It's okay, but it's okay for the length of time it's been there and the amount of revenue it's brought into that area. So once again, that's one of those pieces that were probably negotiated, I think 20 years ago. yeah, it was 20 years ago, with an escalation clause. But they are looking in the next, I believe it's going to be within 2026 that they will move. And fortunately for the residents of Lowell, they will still be in the city of Lowell. So we, as an administration and the council, will be looking for the future of what that could mean in that area. There could be opportunity for additional pop-ups, a whole bunch of things, or trying to assist some of the organizations or some organizations in that area. We're trying to keep it lively. Across the street, the old club is right around the corner from opening up, obviously. Excuse me. And then right up the street, Heritage Foundation, Heritage Builders is they're months away from opening their 37 units. There's a lot of activity on Middlesex Street at this time. So we want to be a part of that, and that's something that the administration will be bringing to the council for an idea or a thought of what could be next. How to reimagine the early garage first story space. I hope that answers it, but I do know it's coming to an end. It's just they're waiting. They're good tenants. They pay.
Sure.
But what could we do in the future?
Sure, that makes sense because the per square foot there seems low now, but this was negotiated long time ago. It was market rate at that time. Probably. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Chow. Councilor Duran, did you see Councilor McDonough?
Sorry, I do have one more question. I didn't see on this report, and it might just be that it's not a formal lease. This might be one of those deals, or I know the Lowell Community Health Center and the early garage, and I believe the HCID garage seem to have some sort of arrangement worked out. I hear both compliments and complaints about I think it's like the first and a half floor, maybe the second, depending on how you count the floors in the early. Yes, thank you. I think he's got my question down without me explaining it better. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Council, yes, Lowell Community Health Center came back to us, I think it might have been 3.5 years ago, and one of their concerns there was the fact they were looking for designated spots, and that's something that we worked with them, provided that they moved some of their folks from the early garage to the Hamilton Canal Innovation District. At that time, and still to this day, the HCID garage is still very underutilized. So we were kind of figuring to make it a little bit easier for our friends over at Lowell Community Health Center to take those number of spots and just replace them over at HCID, where the finances are still the same, and allowing people who are patients to park on, I think it's on the first and the second floor. Given the fact that it's healthcare, that's how we went about that, and I think it's worked out well for Lowell Community Health Center, and they have talked about, and probably to the point that you're making, they rave about how difficult it was, especially for some folks who had healthcare issues and challenges, to have to park all the way up on the 5th floor. So that's where we are with that particular. But they are paying to park there.
Thank you, Councilor McDonough. All in favor, motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Noon. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 6, votes from the city manager. 6.1, vote, accept, expend $41,462 FY25 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. Waive full reading and second reading by title. Vote, authorizing the city manager on the behalf of the city of Lowell to accept and expend a grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance for their FY 2025 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in the amount of $41,462. Motion to adopt by Councilor Liang, seconded by Councilor Dakota. Roll call.
Council Liang?
Yes.
Council McDonough?
Yes.
Council Mercia?
Yes.
Council Noon?
Yes.
Council Robinson?
Yes.
Council Rourke?
Yes.
Council Scott?
Yes.
Council Chow?
Yes.
Council Dakota?
Yes.
Mayor Gitschier?
Yes.
Council Duran?
Yes.
11 days.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. 7 reports. 7.1, Rules and Election Law Subcommittee, April 14, 2026. Counselor Duran.
Yes, I can give a quick summary. So a meeting of the Rules Subcommittee was held on April 14th in the council chamber. Present were Councilors McDonough and Scott, as well as me, Chair. Also present were the City Solicitor, Corey Williams, and Assistant City Solicitor, Olivia Hart-Paulson, as well as a few members of the public, including a few councilors in their capacity as residents. We called the meeting to order, noting there were two topics for discussion. First, regarding selection of the mayor, and secondly, open meeting law requirements for boards and commissions. We did not get to the second topic, so we will schedule another meeting to continue that discussion. Attorney Williams provided a summary of the prior discussions regarding the selection of the mayor, the consent decree, discussions with the plaintiffs of the voting rights lawsuit, and the different paths that could be followed. We discussed the fact that there would need to be a two-step process, first coming to a conclusion about how we might select the mayor, or really have the public select the mayor, and then going about trying to modify the consent decree. Councilor Scott noted that the ballot question was left some residents with the impression that we were planning to switch from Plan E form of government. So there was some, I think, confusion about that on the part of residents, and maybe we'll need some further clarification. And Councilor Scott mentioned that she would support a potential change in the mayoral selection process only if the opportunity would be available to all councilors to run for mayor. Councilor McDonough questioned whether changes could be made by way of a charter review process, and Attorney Williams outlined the process for doing so, indicating it's a lengthy process. So it would potentially make sense that a charter review, if that were to be pursued, would be done in parallel with also moving forward in looking at alternatives for the mayoral process. We opened the matter to the public, and Mr. Robinson and Ms. Mercier addressed the body as residents, not as counselors. Mr. Robinson requested that the Worcester model could be a good starting point, but that only allows, in their approach, they only allow at-large counselors to run for mayor, which wouldn't necessarily satisfy the need for, or the desire that district counselors could also run. Ms. Mercier noted that the ballot question was overwhelmingly supportive of people selecting the mayor or voting for the mayor. So the next step was for Councilor McDonough requested the law department provide written review of a charter change process. We then discussed the need for public involvement, and Councilor Scott suggested the best approach might be through neighborhood meetings. Attorney Williams, based on a motion by Councilor Scott and seconded by Councilor McDonough, there was a request to the city manager to ask the law department to put together materials and to attend neighborhood group meetings to supply information regarding the potential options for selection of the mayor. And that was voted, we voted in favor of that. So as I said, we achieved that portion of the discussion, and now we'll need to schedule another meeting to discuss the procedures and rules applicable to all city boards and committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Duran. Motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 7.2 Wire Inspector, Boston Gas, request replacement of existing gas main on Fletcher Street from Suffolk to Rock Street. Motion to accept and adopt accompanying order by Councilor Noon, seconded by Councilor Mercier. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 8 petitions, 8.1, one property claim. Motion to refer to the Law Department for report and recommendation by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Duran. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 8.2 miscellaneous. William Walsh requests permission to address the City Council regarding parking at the skateboard park located at Hudson and Chase Streets in Richmond Ave.
Well, thank you. Just a word, and to thank Bridget Cooley. I'm a frequent flyer at the library, and she does a great job over there. So it's an appointment well made. I'm talking about we all call it Hudson Field. I'm in the back central street of the city. It's called Rotary Club Park, and the issue there is about it's a small little skateboard park. I'm not tech savvy, but I just drew this thing up. There are actually 23 parking spaces there, and signs went up. This is the second time it's happened that no parking is allowed except for people using the park. The children who were there, the skateboarders, most of them walk over there. And this is the second time it happened. The first time it happened, I got a ticket. And I understand the regulations about city parks, but you cannot have automobiles parking there overnight. But this area, there is a street that goes right through it. It's called Richmond Avenue, not Richmond Street. Richmond Avenue reaches to Chase Street as well. And I'd just like to have it so that parking would be allowed there for the area residents. You could have a few spots reserved for the skateboarders, but again, it's rare to see anyone even drive over there to use that for that purpose. Hudson Street's a very narrow street. There's been a couple of occasions this past winter when the waste management people had a hard time getting down the street because of parking, people parking halfway on the sidewalk and halfway in the street. One of our neighbors actually took down the fencing in front of his home so he could put his car in front of the house. And just to me, it seems that it'd be nice to have some kind of a compromise made where the people who are there will be able to at least use some of those parking spaces on that particular field. Again, I understand the regulations about parking, but Hudson Field or Rotary Club Park is not exactly shed park by any means. And it's one of the few places of parks in the city where traffic can go right through it and so forth. And there are, as I said, there are 23 designated spots for parking, and all the signs say no parking except for park use. So I'd just like to see it change so that some of the residents there would be able to use those spots without getting towed or ticketed. In fact, to the city's credit, people have been parking there. Maybe I shouldn't say that because by the time I get home they may be gone, but they haven't been ticketed and towed, especially with the past winter we've had and so forth. So they've been there. But I'd like to just see that so that just have maybe a few spots designated for the skateboarders, and they walk there. They're all local kids. They're not coming in from all over the city. And just enable the neighbors who live in there. I'm at 42 Hudson Street, which is right across the street from that park, and have people be allowed to park there and have some of those signs that say, parking banned. You can't park here unless you're using the park for those purposes. So that basically is just so I want to bring that up. I know in light of all the things that have been mentioned here this evening, this is hardly one of the biggest matters before the council and the city, but to us in that area, it is rather important to have that done. So I thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I'd just like to, thank you for coming to speak about this. So the neighbors all use the parking there, just like most of Back Central, just like the courthouse parking where there's a shortage, obviously, in the area. There's a lot of parking at this park. It's usually used by neighbors that live around there, as was mentioned. I don't know if a possible solution, just something maybe to look at, if 6-8 spots are dedicated to parking, and maybe just like Linden Street, Jolene Dubner and Walnut are run through the Back Central Neighborhood Association. They lease the spaces from the city and then they rent them to neighbors, just as far as enough money to, they plow them and everything, Linden Street lot, Draper Street. And maybe this park could be considered part of that, because it's just it's hard to see empty parking spaces with no parking signs when you have houses on, Hudson Street, like you said, with no parking spaces. So just something to look at, if we could take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Scott. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to Mr. Walsh for coming in. I talked to Mr. Walsh about this probably 8 times, and he was adamant that he wanted to petition the council. I kept saying I would put something in, just come. He said, no, I'm going to petition the council. This really irks me, and I don't disagree with him. If I lived on that street, I would be pretty irked as well. I agree with much of what Councilor Scott said. I think, a short-term solution would be to take the no parking signs down and maybe just no commercial vehicles. I know that, I know. No, sorry. I have a hard time understanding. There are other parks in the city. I keep hearing about, the city says you can't park near parks, but I'm not trying to get the signs put up at Callery. But if I go to Callery Park to play tennis, there's cars parked all over the side of the road all around Callery Park, and there's no signs that say resident parking only, there's no signs that say park use only surrounding Callery Park. So it's something standard across the city. I don't really think that skate park needs 23 parking spaces, though. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson. Thank you. Councilor McDonough.
Thank you. I know we were looking at, is it the community preservation recommendations that they're 300,000 going towards skate park study or some kind of redo look? Maybe that's to be included, figuring out the parking situations as part of it and ensuring that we have enough but not too much parking if we're spending that kind of money just on a study to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Robinson. Motion to refer to City Manager for report and recommendation by Councilor Yang, seconded by Councilor McDonough. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 8.3 miscellaneous. Charles Akintobi and Stella Akincan request installation of handicap parking sign at 44 D Street. Motion to refer to Transportation Engineer for report and recommendation by Councilor Chow, seconded by Councilor Duran. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. 8.4 miscellaneous. Norman Gitschier request installation of a handicap parking sign at 166 Stephen Street. Motion to refer to the Transportation Engineer for report and recommendation by Councilor Duran, seconded by Councilor Noon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered. Any announcements? Councilor Mercia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have an announcement for a spring celebration of music and art in Lowell. It's a celebration for Lowell's bicentennial called the Town and the City Festival. It's going on from April 30th to May 2nd. Tickets, weekend passes, and more can be obtained when you text into thetownandthecityfestival.com. This is happening at venues throughout downtown Lowell. So anybody interested in having a great time, there's comedians, there's all kind of things. I won't be performing there, but that's all right. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercia. Assistant City Manager Machado.
I just want to wish my lovely wife of 22 years a happy 50th birthday today.
It's a big one. She's only 30 years old. Who are you kidding?
You better be bringing flowers home. Motion to adjourn by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Noon. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? So ordered.